Students, here I brought this graphical question once again. Let's try to understand this graphical question. Through this video, I just want to explain this graphical method once again. Hope this will help you. So, see, when we get graphical question, you just try to the first thing is you just try to understand the question. Okay, so that is very important. Many a time we don't understand the question and we don't see the question properly, and we just attempt to solve the question. Okay, so here you must read the question carefully. So this is a repetition only. See, solve the following system of equations graphically. So the first part of this question is to solve this equation, these two equations graphically. Okay, so in some other form they may ask like plot the graph or draw the graph. So draw the graph or plot the graph is different from this particular thing, solving. In plotting the graph or drawing the graph means you just need to get the graph. You don't need to solve that equation graphically. Okay, that means we do not need to find the values of x and y from the graph, but you just need to draw the graph. But in this question it is said here solve. So solve means you should find the values of this x and y from the graph. Okay, that part one must know. So the first part in this question is to solve this graph, solve this equation graphically, and then set the triangular region formed by the lines. Lines mean this two, this one line, this is second line. Okay, so the lines or these lines means they are talking about these two equations, because each of this equation gives you one straight line. So first thing is set the triangular region formed by this line, this two line, and the y-axis. In our previous class, in previous discussion, there was one more equation here. It was y equal to 0 or x equal to 0. So that in that video only I explain you what are the meaning of those x equal to 0 or y equal to 0. Okay, those are nothing but simply the axis. So here they said clearly y-axis. So y-axis, again we should not confuse. Y-axis is the vertical axis, x is the horizontal axis. Okay, so we want to find a triangular region between these two lines and the y-axis. Okay, it's not x-axis. So try to understand the question. So first thing is to solve this equation graphically. Then you need to set a triangular region between these two lines and the y-axis. Okay, second task. Third task is also calculate the area of the sided region. You need to find the area as well. Area from that graph, the sided region, triangular region. So in this question, if you see, we have three different parts. One is to solve, second is to set the triangle, third is to find the area of the sided region, the triangular region. So in this case, you don't require to write coordinates of the vertices of triangle. So I saw some of you have that habit of writing coordinate as well. There is no harm if you write coordinates, but thing is that if they don't ask, no need to go for those coordinates. Okay, so if they ask you to find coordinates of the vertices, then only you go for finding the coordinates. Otherwise you just ignore that part and simply stick to the things what the question is actually asking for. Okay, so this question we understood. Let's try to do this one. Solution. We have, first we'll write the equation 2x minus y equal to 1, equation 1. X plus 2y is equal to 13, equation number 2. So these are the two equations. Now we want to plot graph for this, and we know before plotting graph we need table coordinates for plotting the graph. So we'll go accordingly from equation 1. Equation 1 is this one. So let me write 2x minus y equal to 1. So I find many of you confused in this particular thing, means to make table. So I told in my that video earlier uh, that whenever we go for making table or assuming values for x and y, remember never try to get fractional value or decimal value, because fractional or decimal value may not give you the exact graph. So that's why as far as possible go for the integral value, integers only. Okay, either negative, positive, 0 you can use, but never take fractional value, rational value, or your what called decimal value. Right? In some question where we need to follow decimal values, uh, but most of the time we don't require decimal. Okay, so except few exceptions. So even if we require decimal value, go for one decimal place, that was told to you earlier. Okay, and always try to avoid this kind of fraction. Okay, something here like 2x minus 5 divided by 3. This type of no, this what called case, if you get, try to avoid 3 in denominator, try to avoid 7, try to avoid your 11. If we have prime number here, odd number, prime odd number, then those kind of value will means it's very difficult to get the table. Of course we can get if we think a little, if we think more, but most of the time, if possible, try to avoid this kind of thing. Okay, otherwise if I have 2 down, if I have 5 down, means a denominator, those number can divide any number and you'll get at least one decimal place, exactly one decimal place. But for values like 3, values like 7, it's difficult to get exactly one decimal place. It's not impossible to get, you can, but it is difficult to get. Okay, now let's go for this one. So whenever we find this kind of equation, actually these equations are very easy, because I have one of this x and y. If I compare, the coefficient of x is 2, coefficient of y is 1. If you see here, coefficient of x is 1, coefficient of y is 2. So whenever I get coefficient 1 in x or y, those kind of graph will be very easy to plot. But it doesn't mean that if you get other number it's difficult to draw or impossible to draw. We can, but if we get variable with coefficient 1, this like see 1 here, 1 there, so in such case it is quite easy to get the graph. Okay, anyway, let's go. Now 2 and 1 is smaller, so what I will do, I will just keep this y, this variable containing coefficient 1 in one side. Okay, I will keep that part on one side. So this minus y, so try to make this positive, always try to get positive, so don't keep negative, because I saw many of you just kept here minus y and later on you got the problem. So that's why try to make this part positive. So the simple way is shift it towards right. So what we can do, 2x I can give here, 1 shift towards left, plus 1 becomes minus 1, and this minus y becomes plus y. Okay, so this is what we get, temporary value of y here as 2x minus 1. All right, what I did, see 2x, 1 I shifted here, and this minus y shifted towards right to get positive y. So always try to keep this part positive if it is negative. Okay, so y is equal to 2x minus 1. So I wrote here y equal to 2x minus 1. So this will help me to get the table. Okay, but without doing this kind of manipulation, you can find out the table. It's very easy. You just need to assume and you will get. Okay, but this, what I feel, will be easier for you to plot the graph or get the table. So now let's assume the variable which is on right hand side. So if you see here, right hand side I have x, so I will write here, putting, will assume at least two values for x. X equal to, you can keep any value here, let me keep 0. See, if I keep x as 0, 2 into 0 is 0, 0 minus 1 will be minus 1, so y will be minus 1, that's why. Let me keep 1 here, x as 1, 2 into 1, see, if I keep x as 1, 2 into 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, so y will be 1. So easy to get. Okay, you can give any values here. So two values, therefore y will be 2x minus 1. Substitute the value 2. First x was 0, so 0 minus 1, so it is minus 1, because 2 into 0 0, 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Second value, 2x as 1. Okay, keep x as 1, so 1 minus 1, so 2 into 1 is 2, minus 1 is 1. So I got the values. Now I can make table x y. I assume x as 0 1, so 0 1, and for 0 y I got minus 1, and for 1 I got y as plus 1. So these are the table we found. Okay, now the first table is obtained. Now go for second table, means second equation. From equation 2, equation 2 is x plus 2y equal to 13. If you see here, again I have coefficient 1 with x here, so I'll try to keep this x on one side. So since x is positive, so I don't need to shift towards right, so I simply keep this x on left hand side, 13 there, and 2y I'll shift towards right, so plus 2y become minus 2y. So take care of sign. Now this is a temporary value of x I got. Now on right hand side I have y variable, so I need to substitute. I need to assume the value of y. I need two value of y. So this 13 is bigger value, so I'll try to reduce, because here if you see first table, the values are 1 0 and minus 1, so it's very small value. So here also we'll try to get a small value. 13 is quite bigger than this values. So if I take y as 6, see, if I take y as 6, 2 into 6, this kind of thing we can easily make out. If you practice more question, this kind of thing will come up spontaneously. So 2 into 6, if I consider y as 6, 2 into 6 is 12, 13 minus 12 is 1. So that is small value. I can take those kind of values. So if I take 5 here, 2 into 5, 10, 13 minus 10 will give me 3. Okay. So let me give 5 and 6 as y. Therefore, x will be 13 minus 2y. 13 y, 2 into y, 2 into y. Y is 5 first. So this. So 13, 2 into 5 is 10. So 13 minus 10 gives me 3. Next value, 13 minus 2. Y is 6. So this is 13 minus 12. 2, 6, 12. This is 1. So again we got the values for this table, x and y. This time I assume y as 5 6, 5 6, and according to the value of x I got 3 and 1, 3 and 1. So the table is ready. Now we can go for plotting the graph. So graphical part is not that difficult to plot the graph, so we can easily think about. So let me take today a little bigger type of graph here. Always try it as far as possible. Always you try to get that smaller size. Let me go for that smaller one. So here it is. So if we see the table here, what we found, table values in the table are 0, minus 1, 1, and here 5 6, highest value is 6 here. So let's go for this 6, positive 6. So that is in y. So let me quickly think about this. Now main part is to get this table correctly. Okay, so if you get the correct table, plotting graph is not that difficult. It's quite easy to get the graph. Now this y negative down, and let me take this part here as x for x. Now this part is positive x, this is negative x, and this is 0. If I go towards right, the small division, if you see that, small 10 division, I will mark as 1 unit. Here 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here minus 1, minus 2. Always use pencil here. Never use pen. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Okay, so that the axes are ready. Now let's plot the graph. Our first value was 0 and minus 1. See, 0 minus 1. Okay, these two, x is 0, y is minus 1. So whenever we get 0, 0 we don't need to take, just ignore 0. So I will not go for 0, simply y as minus 1. So I'll go to y minus 1. So y minus 1 means we'll go downward. So this point, see, minus 1, here I will mark. This is 0 comma minus 1. Done. Second, 1 1, x1 y1, okay, both 1, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So this is, now this 2 point I need to join them. So while joining, so very in a proper way you should join them, okay, and use very sharp pencil to draw this line. Now this is 1 comma 1. Now second table, x3 y5, x3 y5 plus x3 and y5 is somewhere here. It is here, exactly, I got here. This is 3 comma 5. Then second value, 1 6, x1 y6, x1 here and y6 up. So this is what I got. Now I need to join this as well, this one, okay. So join properly, join them properly. Yeah, this is how I should join. All right, so this is the line I got. This was your 1 and 6, 1 comma 6. Okay, so after having done this part, means locating the coordinates, now we'll mark those two equations. I found many of you don't mark that equation to those line. It is very important. So this was the first line. So first equation was 2x minus y equal to 1, and second equation, it is x plus 2y equal to 30. So that everything done now. Now if you see the question, it was written, solve the following system graphically. So graph we obtain. Now we will solve this equation graphically, means we will try to find out the values of x and y. So if you see here, x and y, they are intersecting at this point. So I found many of you have not done this part. This is very important. This is very important. So when they ask you to solve, so you must find the point where both the lines are intersecting. This is the point where they are intersecting and the values are 3 and 5. Okay, so this x is 3, y is 5 is the solution of this equation, right? So I must write here from from the graph we found both the lines intersect at, if I mark this as point P, okay, P 3 comma 5. This means your x is 3 and y is 5 are the solution, solution part is done, solving part is done. Now if you see the question, next part was set the triangular region formed by the lines and the y-axis. Now go to graph again. See, these are the two lines which we obtained from those two equations, and they say the region between, triangular region between these two line and y-axis. Look here, y-axis is this one. So clearly the region, triangular region is this one. See, this is the triangular region. Okay, so here we need to set this part you need to set like this, all this point triangle. See, one vertex, second vertex, and third vertex is here. This one, okay, third vertex is that one. So this is your triangular region, and I found many of you have set it all this region. Some of you have set it this part we don't need, because this part is between lines and the x-axis. Okay, so this part we don't need. This, it was the that region where we need to set. This is the region between this two line and y-axis. So that's why read the question properly. Okay, now if you see the this triangle, now setting thing is done. Now next is to find the area of this triangle. So if you see this, if I take this as base, let me mark here this as A and this as B, this point as B. So AB will be base, and if you talk about height height will be here. This will be height, look here. Okay, this is the height. Because if this is the base, then line perpendicular, see, this line will be the perpendicular to this base. So this is base and this will be height. So this part, let me write C to P will be the height perpendicular. Now count what is the length of base A to B. Now if you see, from this to this is 0.5, because here to here is 1. Now here to here is 1, means this will be 0.5. So count here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and this 0.5, 6.5. This is above 0, okay, but there is some part below 0 also. This up to here B, this is another 1. So I'll start counting from here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7.5. This 7.5. And what about the height? This one. So if you see down, this is 3, height is 3. Okay, so I can write here now area of triangle, suppose ABP, half into base into height. Half into base is your AB and height is CP. So substitute the value. Half, base was 7.5 and height was 3. So you will get how much? You can calculate easily. 3 5 15, 1 21 22 by 2. So this is 11.25 square units. Done. So this is how we find the area of any triangle in graphical method. Okay, so I want all of you to relearn this one, try to understand thoroughly. I have seen many of you understood this thing, so for you it's not that difficult, but those who are still struggling for this one, so try to understand. Okay, go through this class, this video thoroughly and try to understand. It's not that difficult, because this is very important question one must learn for the sake of knowledge as well as for your examination point of view. Okay, so I hope you understood this one. So if you repeatedly if you watch this one, you'll understand, definitely you'll understand. Thank you.